I have my experience and I have my memories, so in conversation sometimes those stories come out, but for me I'm much more interested in almost not saying too much. I think the title is enough, and actually allowing people to just have their own experience with them, and I love to share that. For me, they open conversation about human experience and sometimes the really big and difficult and more complex aspects of human experience, because it's all in there. These are notes from my sketchbooks. Drawing as a transformative practice. How do we change our state through doing something slightly uncomfortable or difficult? We're organic, we're natural beings, we're nature beings, and sometimes as technology has evolved and things like artificial intelligence, which I think about a lot, and I actually really love science fiction, because it's an interesting barometer, I think, of what we need to look at, brings up amazing ethical questions, and also imaginative possibilities, which I think is fascinating. And there have been tremendous advances in medicine and science, but there have also been what I would call massive sort of backward turns in terms of how people are cared for, and sometimes particularly in environments where people experience deep psychological distress, often as a result of very difficult circumstances. More often than not, significant trauma has occurred in the lives of people who end up in psychiatric hospitals, and a whole host of circumstances, situations, complex relational dynamics. There's never one thing that causes someone to trip out, as I like to say. Aspects of life such as, and then learn our own strategies to, and how we feel that we're able to cope with fear, the main feeling, and then set up our ancestral brain. These strategies also create, so it's just like little fragments of text here. Putting paper in her ears is a line that actually made me nearly wet myself, actually. It made me laugh out loud as I was reading through my medical records, because I was like, it was so obvious to me what I was doing, which is that I'm someone that it has extreme sort of sensitivity to sound and smell and all these kind of, and light and all these kind of things, and I was clearly improvising earplugs. I mean, it's not rocket science, and it really speaks to this huge disconnect going on between what is being perceived by others versus what's actually going on for the person who might be experiencing whatever they're experiencing. I mean, I've had a lot of anger towards hospital services and to some of the way that I have been treated and that other people are treated. So I'm not, I don't shy away from that, and I'm very clear about that. I can use that creatively and constructively, or I could use it destructively. And my choice, conscious, conscientious, active choice, is to use it constructively. So it's really interesting. It's almost like a kind of mapping of how cognition works, or how consciousness works. So I find it interesting, and it's distressing sometimes as well, because to see oneself not have control, it's a little painful. But then to be able to be with it and to find compassion for oneself is something that I've had to do. That I've not just had to, but wanted to do, actually.